is your message, your essential message about life and how to change your life and how to improve your life different in different places? Do you go to Beverly Hills and see a different need than you see
in a tribal village in India? No, not at all. They would like to think they're different, but they're not. They just complicate simple things. If I go to a tribal village, directly those ladies will just come and tell me what's their problem. If I come to Beverly Hills, they go round and round and round, take 3 days to tell me what's the problem.
Welcome to my hood, Sadhguru. And how do you… because I think that this is actually something that all of us do struggle with, this compulsiveness, this inability to let go of things that we know on some level we should be able to let go of. How do you advise us or help us to let go of those things that we know are almost haunting us sometimes?
So let us understand the fundamentals of compulsiveness, where it comes from. See, everything that's physical in this universe, from a single atom to the cosmic nature of things, everything that's physical is naturally in cyclical motion. In atom, things going around. In the cosmos, it's going around, solar system is going around. Our own bodies are cycles. We are born out of the cycles of our mother's bodies. So, the moment you're identified with the physicality of who you are cyclical in nature. What is cyclical is compulsive. What is cyclical has taken a compulsive pattern. It has to do the same things again and again. You try as hard as you want, it will not go. You will give up one and hang on to another. I hope with the Jewish rabbi a joke is allowed.
A Jewish rabbi, actually, a joke is mandatory.
Yes,
so.
okay, that's good. This happened. It once happened that Shankaran Pillai was working in an office and his office colleague asked for a lift, a woman, a young woman. So he took her in the car and he was driving and suddenly he became like an octopus, that his limbs were all over her. So she pushed him away and said, "You fool, I thought you were a decent fellow. What are you trying to do?" He said, "I'm sorry, I gave up smoking." So, if you try to beat compulsiveness with force, you will switch from one cycle to another cycle to another cycle. It keeps happening. Fundamental thing is this, you are so strongly identified with your own physical nature, inevitably you will be cyclical, do whatever you want. So this is why what spiritual means is that your experience of life becomes… something within you becomes larger than your physicality. Physicality includes your thought and emotion. This is…
Yes, no, I mean, what I was going to say, two things. First of all, I think when people talk about whether they're religious or not religious, I actually don't believe that's the distinction. The distinction between people are materialists and non-materialists. That is, those who believe that non-material things are real and spiritual realities are real. And the reason that I bring this up in part is because I know that one of the things we had talked about addressing is the question of mysticism. And it seems to me that both our traditions share a belief that the world that you can see and touch and feel is not all there is. And just now, as I understood you, you were appealing to the non-physical parts of ourselves as a sort of antidote to the over-reliance on the physical part of cyclical compulsiveness.
See, it's not a question of…
just say yes to one of my questions. Tell me right, you got it right, Rabbi. Okay. I'm working here.
Yes, but Yes, but the thing is, it's not something that we have to believe in. See, none of us were born like this as we are. We came like this, we became like this. This is just accumulation of the food that we've eaten, or it's just a piece of the planet. Most people don't get this point till you bury them. Even that in Los Angeles I feel is difficult because I heard they're being buried in a concrete vault. So even in burial, you will still not know that you're part of the earth. So this is something that you gathered. Anything that you gather, at the most you can claim is yours. You cannot claim it's me. I can say, this glass of water is my glass of water. But if I say this is me, you know that I'm a case. You know for sure. So if you say this is my body, yes, it is right now, till we bury you. But if you say this is me, you're a case. Your only comfort is, everybody around you is a case. This is how it is in an asylum. The only nutcase is the doctor.
How do you shift that perspective, though? How do you learn to see yourself as continuous with everyone and everything?
So it's like this. I'm agreeing with that.
We're good.
See, this is my body, that's your body, distinctly separate, at least right now. Till both of us are buried. Till then, this is my body, that's your body, very clear. This is my mind and that's your mind, very clear. But there is no such thing as my life and your life. There's no such thing. This is like, I'm sure at some stage in your life, when you were in school at least, you blew some soap bubbles, huh? So that's my bubble, this is your bubble. Poop, it goes. There is no such thing as this is my air and this is your air. This is a living cosmos. You captured some, I captured some. How significant a life you become. When I say significance, not how significant you are in the society or in the world. It's not about that. As a life you become significant because you have captured that much of life which overwhelms the puniness of your own mind and physical body. Within you, the life that you've captured is a larger dimension than the body that you have gathered and the information that you gathered in the form of your mind. When the life that you are is bigger than your mind and your body, no teaching is needed. You're simply conscious about that, that's all. It's not that you believe that, that's a living reality for you. So my whole work is to bring people to a dimension of experience where the life that they are is larger than the mind that they are. Life that they are is larger than the body that they are. So you don't have to give a teaching or a kind of a belief system. Naturally, what is most dominant becomes you, within you.
And the way that you bring people to that dimension of being or dimension of existence is…
See, as there is a science and technology for external well-being, there is a whole science and technology for inner well-being. The problem that happens in every tradition is, over a period of time, generation after generation, it gathers moss. So much frill it gathered, nobody knows where the skirt is.
There was a French Catholic writer, Charles Piguet, who said everything begins in mysticism and ends in politics. And I think that in religious traditions, that's exactly…
Yes.
There's a great deal of truth to that. So how do you scrape the barnacles off the boat or the moss off the tradition and identify that kernel which can actually expand people's sense of what they are a part of, but what they are only a small part of?
I think I came with a huge advantage that I'm completely uneducated, refuse to be educated. Why I'm saying this is, it is not easy to remain uneducated. Because from the moment you're born, the moment somebody sees a child, all the adults want to pounce upon the child, wanting to teach something that's not worked in their life. Parents, teachers, every kind of people. The moment they see a child, they want to teach the child something. It's very clear. When you look at the child, the exuberance and the joy that the child has and the adults are the way they are, obviously it's not worked for them, whatever they know. But they want to teach it to the child. So I refused this one influence on me. I just remained as I was, uninfluenced by parents, teachers, society, religion around me, politics around me. I kept myself away from that. If you keep yourself away from identifying yourself with just about anything around you, anything, including your genetics, your society, religion, politics, economics, whatever is happening around you, if you're not identified with anything, it is natural for human intelligence to find its way. Nobody has to teach anybody anything. If you just make sure children don't get identified with you, hello? That you don't want that, you want them identified with you. Because it's your legacy, it's not a new life. It's your legacy, you want to live after you're dead. You want them to be just like you in so many different ways. If you don't have this problem, if you leave them alone, just nurture them so that they're not influenced by anything, you will see the world will be full of mystics.
I'm not persuaded. First of all, okay, there are three things that you said that I'm not completely persuaded of. One is that you never learned anything. When you say you're uneducated, you spoke a language, you knew your neighborhood that you lived in, you learned how to eat and what foods to make, you learned lots of things from the people around you. There's no way you could have survived had you not learned. That's one. Wait, I'm not done. Number two, I want you to know that when I had a child, I didn't want to teach her the ways that I was that didn't work for me. I rather wanted to teach her the joy that I found in the world and the beauty. And I teach her poetry and I teach her wonder. And I think a lot of what I teach her expands her. I'm sure I've taught her some things that she would say, gee, I wish you hadn't taught me that. But I really do believe that most parents want to teach their children not the things that didn't work for them, but rather the things that they found in the world that are extraordinary and wonderful.
No, I did not mean didn't work in that sense. See, the only thing about the adults or the parents is, the only qualification you have is you landed here a few years earlier, yes. All right? Nothing else. Hello? Yes. Isn't that so? Yes. You just came here a little early. So what do you know? You know a few survival tricks that the child does not know. If you want to teach them business, you want to teach them how to survive in the world, fine, you know better than them, of course. But as life, the reason why everybody loves a child is because child is a better life than the adult, in every way. Just as life, maybe he doesn't have your intellect, maybe he's not accumulated the nonsense that you've accumulated, maybe he does not know how to survive in the world, but as a life, he is far more exuberant and alive than you are. That is why it doesn't matter whose child, when you see a child, you light up, because it's life. Even the grave-faced people get ignited, all right?
You know?
So, when I say teaching children something that did not work in their life, it is not that your survival tricks did not work, obviously they worked for you, that's what you want to teach, because you're concerned about the child's survival, all right? You're concerned, what will happen to him, this is the only thing. See, when people have children, they only have moments of joy, rest of the time it's only anxiety, what will happen, what will happen, what will happen. Yes, because it's all about survival. So if you even… I'm trying to look at this comprehensively. Even if you just examine the prayers on the planet, this says everything about the adults. 95% of the prayers on the planet are just about, dear God, give me this, give me that, save me, protect me. Does it sound like survival or divine expansion? Maybe only 5% is there. 95% is only save me, protect me, give me this, give me that, isn't it? This is all survival process, outsourced.
Well, I admit that you are the first person that I know who preaches a desire to uneducate people. And I understand what you're saying, that there is a pure life to a baby, but I don't believe that pure lifedness can exist in an adult the same way it does in a child. I said the same way that it does in a child. No, look, you're a man, in all seriousness, you're a man who has political savvy, you've written books, you travel and speak. There is a certain sophistication to your lack of sophistication that I think is quite right. That seems to be pretty clear. I'm not suggesting, oh, you're just like everybody else. But I also think that maybe you are overplaying the extent to which civilization is a bad idea.
No.
I think it's usually a pretty good idea, often.
No. Civilization is organization of basic human intent, just an organized structure. But organization can also get suffocating for the growth…
No question.
of an individual life. Yes. When you are 5 years of age, let's say, when all of you were 5 years of age, how joyful, exuberant and alive you were, and how you are today, though for all of you I can see life has worked out very well, better than you would have imagined for many of you. In spite of that, compared to how you were 5 years of age and today how you are, has it gone down or not? See, I want you to understand, with age, only physical agility can go down. Aliveness need not go down. Hello? So are you trying to die in installments? That's all I'm asking you.
It seemed foolish to do it all at once, so I thought I would do it gradually over time. But what I would say is, also, I'm not sure that I would privilege aliveness over everything else, because I might be less alive than I was when I was 5 years old. But I wouldn't go back to being 5, because I have so much now that I did not have as a 5-year-old, and some of it, like sad memories, ways in which I've hurt other people, ways in which I've hurt myself, some of it is stuff that may diminish my life, but I also think has made me wiser, broader, more empathetic, more sympathetic, deeper, all of those things. So I don't see this as a one-way street.
See, essentially, you are trying to, prescribe some amount of suffering for everybody so that they become wiser.
No, I'm saying that a certain amount of suffering is inevitable, and once it happens to you, I'm not sure, you wouldn't choose it, but I'm not sure that once it happens, when you look back on it, you would say, it didn't actually allow me, in some ways, to deepen myself. I don't think that that's unfamiliar to your religious tradition. It certainly isn't to mine.
No, I was just about to clarify that. When I said I came with an advantage, I did not belong to any tradition as such. I did not identify with any tradition, nor they could put me into any tradition. This is all I did. I did not identify myself with anything. Just to tell you to what extent. I was around maybe 12 years of age. And in India, our mothers and parents generally, they're not given to every day profess, I love you, this and that. There is no verbal expression of love. They live for us. We know the question of whether they love us or not doesn't arise because their lives are about us. So, it never occurs whether they love us, don't love us, such things don't even exist. It is just their lives are dedicated to us, so we know they live for us. So, when I'm around 12 years of age, some tender moment and not exactly I love you, but in some way she expressed her affections towards me. I'm in that mode at that time, struggling, that I made sure that I don't belong anywhere, but at the same time I'm extremely involved with everything. So I just asked, it was a natural question for me. I asked her, suppose I was born in the next house, would you still feel this way about me? She just teared up. I didn't know what I said wrong. I thought I just asked a question. But somehow she just teared up and went away. And after 10 minutes she came back and she did something very strange. She came and touched my feet and she was all in tears. I didn't know what to say. I said, what did I do wrong? I just asked a question. But when I look back later on, when things changed within myself, I saw that she saw the point, she got it in such a profound way, because it is true that her affections are simply because I am her son, not as a life, not as just another being. If I was somebody else, she wouldn't feel the same way. When she realized that, she just kind of, an expansion is also cracking up, The eggshell has to crack for something new to come out. So, I just kept… See, if your intelligence is not aligned or associated or identified with anything, it is natural for human intelligence to seek relentlessly. Seeking relentlessly means without any purpose. See, the difference between… because you mentioned the word mysticism, the difference between mysticism and other ways of doing things is, everybody is trying to find something. A scientist is trying to find something. Somebody who's walking the street right now is trying to find something of their own needs. Every human being, every animal is trying to find something, maybe food, maybe shelter, maybe whatever. So if you have a torchlight, if you have a… what do you call this? Flashlight. If you have a flashlight, you have focused light, you're trying to find something. You only see this person or this person or this person. What mysticism means is, you blew your flashlight, it became a flare. You saw everything the way it is. And after that, you are never the same again. See, we should not misunderstand masculine with male and feminine with female. Female and male is a manifestation. Masculine and feminine are two fundamental qualities in nature, because physical nature in the universe happens between polarities. So one dimension of polarity is masculine and feminine. You may be a woman, but you may have more masculine in you than a man. You may be a man, you may have much more feminine in you than most women. So the question is not about being male or female. Being male or female is just a biological manifestation. Masculine and feminine is the basic polarities, which is the basis of physical creation here. So, if you want to be a complete human being, it is very important both masculine and feminine are there within you in equal proportion. Only then you are a full-fledged human being, otherwise you are a skewed human being. In this skew, you will misunderstand everything. In this skew, you will become a very limited possibility of life. If you might have seen these images probably because of the yoga studios and other things in California. You will see in India, Adiyogi, or he is known as Shiva, he is seen as the ultimate man. He is the ultimate man not because he is a super macho. He is ultimate man because one half of him is a woman. Have you seen these images? One half is a very athletic man, another half is a full-fledged woman. So his body itself is one half man and one half woman. In yoga, this is called as Pingala and Ida, 2 dimensions of your energy within you. Only when these 2 things are in balance, you have a proper perspective of life. Otherwise, you have become a very biological entity. Biology is a basis. Biology cannot be the peak of who we are.
So I do know that you have a quote that says that whether you're male or female, if you're not in touch with the feminine, you don't enjoy the finer things in life. So is the feminine principle things that are more receptive?
See, when we say masculine, there are 2 fundamental forces working within us all the time. One is our instinct of survival. We want to survive. We can take survival to different levels, but essentially the instinct of survival is this one wants to, this limited entity wants to survive and do well. This instinct is there in all of us, it's there in every creature in the world. Another dimension is, there is something within you which always wants to expand. When you are in a survival mode, you want to build walls around yourself. Boundaries are important. If you let your dog loose on the street, you will see he goes on peeing all over the place. Not because he has some urinary problem, I'm sorry, I'm not able to look at you. Not because he has some urinary problem, he is building his pea kingdom. He's setting his boundaries. It's a natural instinct. He is trying to set his own boundary all the time. This is survival instinct in all of us, that we want to build a wall, protection, self-preservation. But there's another dimension which wants to expand. If you don't empower that, if you just empower only your instinct of survival, then you will build a wall of self-preservation, and after some time you realize walls of self-preservation are also of self-imprisonment after some time. Yes? If you build a wall today you see an enemy outside and you build a wall. Tomorrow you are in your own prison. Somebody else put you into prison, that's bad. But you yourself put you into a prison, that's horror. Yes? So the instinct of self-preservation has to be consciously balanced, otherwise we'll end up building walls and walls. Oh, I'm in California.
This is so funny.
No, I was not making a political statement.
You just did.
So, inevitably, when we feel unsafe, we'll build a wall. So, the instinct of self-preservation cannot be ignored, it is there, obviously, isn't it? Obviously, it is there in all of us. Walls are not always of brick and mortar, there are a variety of walls we set up. But the longing to expand is also there. How much expansion do you want if you sincerely look at this? Today, if you're here, you want to be a little bigger. If you're there, you want to be a little bigger. But suppose I make you the queen of this planet. Hello? Don't look at me hopefully, huh? Why will I commit such a blunder? Suppose I make you the queen of this planet. Will you be fulfilled? No. You will look at the moon. Why not that? If I give you the moon, will you keep quiet? You will look at the next galaxy. If I give you one galaxy, will you keep quiet? You will look at the other galaxies. So there is something within you which wants to expand. How much expansion do you believe will settle you? If you really look at it, you want to expand boundlessly. There is something within you which does not like boundaries, please look at this. If I imprison you right now in a 5x5 cubicle, you will feel horrible. So tomorrow we'll announce your liberation and liberate you into your 10x10 cubicle. Now you will feel wonderful for a day. And then you will feel horrible in the 10x10 cubicle. We will liberate you into a 100 by 100 cubicle, you will feel really great for 3 days. Again you'll feel the same thing. It doesn't matter where I set the boundary. The moment you can feel the boundary, you want to break it, isn't it? So there is something within you which does not like boundaries. So if there is something within you which does not like boundaries, it simply means it is longing to become boundless. You cannot become boundless through physical means, isn't it? Physicality means, the fundamentals of physicality is a defined boundary. Without a defined boundary, there is no physical body. Suppose there were no boundaries to my body, where would I be, here or there or where? Only because has a boundary, it is here. Your body has a boundary, so it's there. But there is something within us which longs to be boundless. If we do not empower this, there will be no balance between masculine and feminine. That is why ultimate liberation, both for men and women, it's not… see, one cannot be liberated from the other. Both have to be liberated from what? From this bondage of being stuck in our own bodies and identified with little bodily changes that we have between us and go on endlessly about the same debate. No, unless we become free from the identification of our own physical form, there is really no freedom. This is what consciousness means, an intelligence which creates this body. Today there's a whole lot of interest in the Western world about the brain. In the yogic sciences, we do not attach much significance to the brain because we think through the entire body. This is the way of women for a long time. They thought with their body. They did not have all those complicated thoughts that men were struggling with, but they simply knew what to do, what not to do, because they thought with their entire body, because their body was doing things which no brain can do. Even now, if I ask you, what you call as intelligence in modern terms, in today's educated world, what people think is mind is a combination of memory and intelligence, isn't it so? Memory and your ability to concoct something out of what you remember, the data that you have and what you make out of it and use it, now you're considered smart, isn't it? Let's start with memory. See, if I ask you 10 generations ago how your grandmothers looked like, do you remember? No. Do you remember? No. But your great-great-great-grandmother's nose is sitting on your face right now. Your body remembers or no? Your body remembers or no? How your skin tone was 1,000,000 years ago for your forefathers, your body still remembers, yes or no? So in terms of memory, what your body carries is trillions of times more than what your brain can ever carry, yes or no?
Yes.
The complexity of activity that are happening in a single molecule of DNA, with all your brains you can't figure it, yes or no? More complicated activities happening here than here, yes? So, this is a body of intelligence. The question is, can you employ it or do you just run on one thing? In the yogic sciences, we look at human intelligence as 16 parts. So this is like a 16-wheeled truck, but you choose to drive it on one wheel. Very strenuous. So you will see educated people are the most stressful people on the planet because they are driving a 16-wheel truck on one wheel, very difficult. Their intellect, their thought is the only damn thing they're trying to use and it's very difficult. You don't have to think through everything. You know, can I tell a small story?
Yes, please.
My great-grandmother lived to be 113.
Wow.
Okay that's not the only achievement she had. She got married when she was 14. And those days in India, an unmarried girl cannot use tobacco, but once she is married, she is free to use tobacco. So on the first day, she exercised her right to use tobacco and she lived in a certain way. People started saying, she's a devil of a woman. Not because she did any harm to anybody, simply because if she laughed, the whole street shook. Like that she laughed. Those days, in those societies, women were not supposed to laugh loudly. They're supposed to laugh in a controlled way. Only street women laughed loudly, family women laughed very… At least when men were there, they did not laugh, because there was nothing to laugh about. But she laughed in such a way that the whole street would shake if she laughed. So people said she laughs like a devil. Always, unfortunately, this is the whole thing. The devil is a laughing one. God is a dead serious one. It's your choice. So, she lived wild. Wild means, at the age of 67 or 68, she lost her husband, and then she decided, this is a very large land-owning family. So she moved out from the family and built a small temple with her own hands in somebody else's land. Somebody else means another family's land, not without permission, with their permission, but she was family's disgrace because this family owns hundreds and hundreds of acres of land and she sets up her stupid temple in somebody else's land, the whole family, oh my God, she's ashamed. And she built a temple, not for any god, she sat there. She is the main piece. No god, she just sat there and people started visiting her. And slowly, this following grew for her and she just lived there. When we went there for vacation, she would come to see us. She was an incredible woman, she just captured me in a certain way simply because one thing, she laughed. Another thing, when I met her, she was over 100 years of age and her hair, full hair below her knees. She would leave her hair loose and dance like that. So I just liked… she was freaky. With her you could do anything, nothing was wrong. With everybody else is constantly trying to tell you what's right, what's wrong, what's right, what's wrong. With this one woman you could do what you want, and she was fine. And sometimes, she would be crying and laughing at the same time. I'd ask, what's happening with you? Are you crazy? Everybody says you're crazy. Why are you crying and laughing at the same time? She would just burst into a hoot of laughter and say, someday you will know, and she would laugh. And I would see her like this. If they give her breakfast, she first goes and feeds the ants, then the sparrows, then the squirrels. Most of her breakfast is over in this. And people, self-appointed advisors, they come and say, you old woman, you just don't eat anything, you will die like this. All these advisors died, but she lived and lived. She buried her husband, her children, her grandchildren, some of her great-grandchildren, but she lived on. And many times I've seen her, after having fed the ants and everything, she would simply sit there, not even eating this little breakfast she has, tears flowing down her cheeks. And I would ask her, what's wrong with you? Because, I thought she's very emotional about the ants because I was 5, 6 years of age, I was going stamping the ants and she was so emotional, she never stopped me from even killing the ants, though she was feeding them. And then I'll ask, what's wrong with you, why? She would say, I'm full. I don't know what the hell she was talking. It took me another 20 years to realize what she was talking about. So for me, she became the symbol of feminism for me. She was the ultimate woman because she fulfilled everything that she is expected to fulfill, but she was never a part of that nonsense. She was always beyond that. And this is because not you have great thoughts. Thoughts are very rudimentary stuff in human life. This must be understood, I'm sorry. Because I'm being introduced as a thought leader, I'm getting scared of that. See, thought is happening only from the limited data that you have gathered in your head, isn't it so? But there is something more phenomenal happening all across, isn't it? Hello? The intelligence of the creation is functioning right now here, is it or not?
Yes.
If you can transform a piece of bread into a human being, that means the very intelligence of the source of creation is throbbing within you right now. Instead of identifying with that, we are unfortunately getting identified with what we accumulate, with the car we have, with the house we have, with the relationships we have, with the body we have, with the accumulated knowledge that we have. We have gotten identified with things that we have acquired rather than being identified with the source of who we are. So this is what consciousness means, but this will not come by thinking differently. You must touch that dimension beyond physiological and psychological process. This is something that must happen. When that happens, there will be no problem about who is a man, who is a woman.
Could you please tell us how we can touch that dimension?
We can start with a very simple process, which today tens of millions of people are practicing across the world. I brought this out because, when I was just about maybe 2.5 or around 2.5 years of age, my mother, her health was not good. So they sent me to my aunt's place who lived in my grandfather's house. My aunt was just married and she was only 18 years of age. She was that bubbly, joyful, loving human being that you can't stop her for a moment. And she took me in as her own and we became great friends. I was there for nearly 2 years maybe, but after that I came back to my parents, but I always developed that close relationship with her, not of an aunt, but we became buddies right through our life. Then a time came and her life went on like normal, marriage good, children cute, and the boy got educated and went somewhere and the girl got married as she wished and grandchildren came, everything wonderful. Then she got some ailment. Then she knew in the next 2 years she's gonna die, max 2 years. Then I saw this wonderful human being deteriorating into nothing. Total mess she became. This such a loving, joyful, exuberant human being that nobody could stop suddenly became a wreck. I just looked at her. I was into too much travels here and there, I tried to catch up with her, but nothing much could be done with her because she just shattered. I just looked at her and saw the only problem with her is she knew two things, her physiological structure and her psychological structure. She managed it well and kept herself loving, joyful, wonderful, everything. The moment she realized these two things are going to end, she's finished. She's just finished. You can't believe such a wonderful human being became so nasty and miserable and broken. At that time I thought, this is something that needs to happen. So we started what is called as, in Tamil Nadu we started this Urusuttu Anmikam. This means one drop spirituality. Everybody must have at least a drop of something which is beyond your body, which is beyond your mind, something within you which is not a concoction of your mind. A place to stand beyond physiological and psychological process must be there in every life. As a part of this, we launched what is called today being practiced by many people. Is anybody practicing Isha Kriya here? Yeah. This is a simple process. Initially, it looks like a psychological process because people can't keep their mind aside, they have to use it in some way. So we are going through the psychological process, but if you go deep enough into it, if you sit here, your body will be here, your mind will be there, what is you is little away from that. Once there is a little distance between you and your body, between you and your mind, this is the end of suffering. Because human suffering happens only on two different levels, physiological suffering, psychological suffering. Do you know any other kind of suffering? Hello?
No.
Physical suffering, mental suffering, this is all. Once there is a distance between you and your body, between you and your mind, this is the end of suffering. This must happen to you not at the end of your life, at the very beginning of your life, because the fear of suffering is what has crippled humanity. A human being has not explored the full depth and dimension of who they are simply because of fear of suffering. What will happen to me? What will happen to me? Is always the concern, isn't it? Suppose you came to this kind of ease, that if you sit here, whatever the hell happens to me, this is how I will be. If this assurance and ease came into your life, then you would explore life in many more ways than you're doing it right now, isn't it so? This needs to happen. If we want to unleash human genius on this planet, the fear of suffering has to go. For that to go, you must know something beyond your physiological and psychological structures.
Absolutely.
So it's like this. The nature of your existence, your experience and your perception is right now like this. You know that you're here right now because you can see, you can hear, you can smell, you can taste and you can touch. Suppose right now you just dozed off a little bit. You're still very alive and everything is going on here. But if you doze off a little bit, first thing is I will disappear, for sure. If you doze some more, everybody will disappear. If you go more, even you will disappear. This is the nature of human experience. Simply because the five sense organs have shut down, suddenly the world is obliterated, even you're obliterated. Or in other words, your entire experience of life right now is limited to five sense organs. These sense organs, in the very nature of things, cannot see anything the way it is. They can only see everything in comparison. You know what is light only because you know darkness. You know what is sound only because you know silence. You know this only because of that. Because, see, right now if I touch this, my hand says this cup is cool. No, it is not so. It is because of the way my body temperature is, I'm thinking this is cool. If I lower my body temperature and touch this would be warm to me. So your entire perception is by comparison. Perception by comparison is good enough for survival process. It is not good enough for knowing the nature of life. It will help you to survive in the world. These five sense organs will help you to survive in the world, but it will not give you any sense about what this life is about. So if you have to know life the way it is, not the way it's projected to be. When I say not the way it is projected to be, see right now, let's say you're 6 feet tall. Now, in this society, you stand like a tall man, you walk like a tall man, you feel like a tall man, you are a tall man. You went to another society where everybody is 8 feet tall, suddenly you feel like a short man, stand like a short man, walk like one and feel like one, and you are one, isn't it? So what you know by comparison is only good enough for survival in a given situation. It is not good enough instruments to know life in its essence. So if you want to know something more, you have to enhance your perception. Right now, everything that you carry in your mind as information is all these comparisons and half bits and pieces. When I say bits and pieces, right now you can see this part of my hand. That means you cannot see this part of my hand. This is not just with my hand, even if you take a grain of sand, if you see one part, you cannot see the other part. This is the nature of human perception. When this question came up, when Arunabh asked this question some time ago, when I was a child, I stared and stared, trying to bend my perception around this because I can see only a part of it. How to see the other part? You won't believe this. By the time I was 11 years of age, I would walk in the jungle alone by myself for 3 to 4 days till my bread lasted, alone. And I learned to see in the dark absolutely as good as the animals. And not just walking, I caught dozens of snakes in the dark. They couldn't believe that I can see as good as them, but I could pick them up because It is just a question of enhancing your perception, and a human being is capable of this because on this planet, we have the most evolved neurological system. But because of cerebral activity, which is new, evolutionary scale, it is a new happening. Because of that, we are too enamored with our thought and emotion, we don't feel so many things. But actually, you have a better neurological system than any creature on this planet. Do you agree with me? But if you want to smell something out, you'll bring a dog. If you want something else, you look at something else, because they don't have this thought process. They're able to just be keen on how they perceive their senses. But human beings' ability to sense anything has gone down because they are completely going on with their own thought. Their own thought and emotion keeps them busy for their entire life. Their psychological reality has overshadowed their existential reality. This is the biggest problem. So when we talk about life, we are not talking about a psychological space. Today if you say life, if somebody says my life, you are supposed to think he's talking about his work, he's talking about his family, he's talking about his car, he's talking about his wealth. He's not talking about life. Life means this, what is throbbing inside and keeping this alive right now. This is life, isn't it? But when people say life, you are supposed to understand that he's not talking about life, he's actually talking about his job or wealth or money, a business or something. Because your idea of life has become purely survival. The idea of evolution or the possibility of this evolution is that a human being is capable of rising beyond their survival process. This is the reason why survival doesn't fulfill you. For every other creature, their survival requirements are taken care of, they're just fine, they have no other issue. Eating, sleeping, reproducing, their life is complete. Till these things happen to you, you think these are big things. But once they happen to you, they don't mean anything. You want something more to happen. If that something more happens, you want something more. If that something more happens, you want something more. If you look at this, what you want is not more, what you want is all. And if you want all, you should not go by extending physical boundaries, because physical can never be all, isn't it? You're desiring for the infinite, but you think you will get there by counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, you will only become endless counting. You will only become endless counting. Now, because we are looking at everything in comparison, in many ways we have fragmented the world, even our own species between men and women, and everything is divided because we are perceiving everything through sense perception, we don't have a life perception. So if you have to transcend the limitations of your senses, it is not that senses are bad, without that you wouldn't even know that you exist. Senses are fundamental, without it you cannot survive. But once you're human, survival is not good enough, something more needs to happen. For that something more, some striving is needed, you must look at this properly. Anything in your life which is about survival has come to you just naturally. See, suppose you got lost in a jungle as an infant, no contact with any human society. Something edible came in front of you, would you first try your ears, then your nostrils, then your eyes and accidentally find your mouth? No. Anything concerned with survival, you just know, isn't it? But you wouldn't know how to read, how to write, language, this, that, many other things you would not know. Because anything beyond survival will not come to you unless you strive for it. So, to turn inward, that means, why I'm saying turn inward is because these sense organs are essentially outward bound. But the experience of your life is happening from within you. Do you see me? Hello, all of you. Do you see me? Even if you're not listening, it's okay, but do you see me? Can you use one hand and point out where I am? You got it all wrong, you know, I'm a mystic. No, this light is falling upon me, reflecting, going through your lenses, inverted image in the retina, you know the entire story. So where do you see me? You see me within yourself. Where do you hear me? You hear me within yourself. Where have you seen the whole world? Within yourself. Everything that ever happened to you, light and darkness happens within you, pain and pleasure happens within you, joy and misery happens within you, agony and ecstasy happens within you. Just about anything that ever happened to you happened only within you. You have never experienced anything outside of you. Right now, if somebody touches your hand, you think you're experiencing their hand. No, you're only experiencing the sensations in your hand, isn't it? Now, your entire experience is within. When it is so, what happens within you, at least what happens within you, must happen the way you want it, isn't it? If you happen just the way you want it, would you keep yourself in the highest level of pleasantness or unpleasantness? Pleasantness. The choice for yourself is definitely pleasantness. What you want for your neighbor may be debatable, but what you want for yourself is very, very clear. But that one thing is not happening. Why I'm talking about pleasantness is, there is substantial medical and scientific evidence today that if you remain pleasant, without a moment of anger, anxiety, irritation, agitation, nothing, for 24 hours if you remain like this, they are saying your ability to use your intelligence can go up by 100% in 24 hours' time. So, pleasantness or joy or bliss is not a goal by itself, it is a fundamental necessity. In the sense, only if your experience of life is pleasant and if there is no fear of suffering, will you walk full stride. Otherwise, fear of suffering will always cripple you in so many ways. But today it's become like this, people, well, even spiritual leaders are going about talking, saying that peace of mind is the ultimate goal of life. Such people will only rest in peace. I was to speak at Tel Aviv, and I'm flying out of Atlanta in United States, and I'm to land there at 11 in the morning and speak at 6:30 in the evening. I end up landing there because of some flight delays at 6 in the evening. So I'm quickly changing in the airport, because in these 35 years I have not been late to a single event or appointment. I've managed this always. So I'm rushing and I'm famished, I'm super hungry, because I'm flying an American airline, there's nothing edible on that plane. But I don't have a moment to grab something, so I just went straight, and to my amazement I found I'm speaking at a fine restaurant. That doesn't happen at all to me. I thought, this is it. When I'm so hungry, this is the place to go. And people were already coming in, some people greeting me, and one man comes and says, "Shalom." I ask him, "What does it mean?" He says, "This is the highest way of greeting." I said, "Well, that's your opinion. What does it mean?" He said, "No, this is really the highest way of greeting." "All right, but what does the word mean?" I said, "It means peace." Then I say, why is peace the highest way of greeting unless you're born in Middle East? You come in South India, in the morning you come and say, "Peace." I'll say, "What's wrong with you?" I'm saying if you deprive yourself of something for long enough, suddenly, slowly it'll rise to heaven. If you've not eaten for 5 days, let us say your favorite god appeared, what will you ask? Food? Food will raise to heaven, everything that you don't have will raise to heaven. Being peaceful, it's not the ultimate goal of life, it is the most fundamental requirement. Today, if you want to enjoy your dinner, if not ecstatic, at least you must be peaceful, isn't it? If you want to take a walk on the street and enjoy it, you must at least be peaceful. If you want to live with this handful of people in your family, you must at least be peaceful if not ecstatic, isn't it? If you want to enjoy the few things that you do in your life, the most fundamental thing, basic requirement is at least you're peaceful. But today people are saying, it is the ultimate goal of life, peace of mind. That's never going to happen, because they have not understood the simplest aspects of life. For example, your mind. Can we? The simplest aspect, it's like this. Because people are falling out of scriptures, this is the biggest problem. I was about to tell a joke, but Aruna was serious. This happened in Tennessee. You know, our center in United States is in Tennessee. It's a hardcore religious place. People said, Sadhguru, you'll get killed in no time. But we are flourishing in Tennessee, doing very well, because they can't figure out who I am. I go out into this little town, and I'm new there, and I'm smiling at everybody and greeting people on the street. Small little town. One big man, over 6 feet tall, this wide, comes and stands just 6 inches away from me, looks down on me like this and says, God loves us. I look at him and say, the way you are, only God can love you. He has to love the mistakes he has made. Before he realized, it takes time to get things. By then I'm gone, of course. So in Tennessee, every family has a huge Bible, not small, big ones, this big, leather bound. The bigger the family, the richer the family, the bigger the size of the Bible. Almost every home has 10 commandments carved on the stone. Most of it goes from South India, these carvings. So it's good business, I watch this and say, okay, it's good for our economy, commandments or no commandments. So, this little boy, 8-year-old boy, went to school on East Coast and came back home on the vacation. So he was just flipping through this big book, and a dry leaf fell out. The boy started screaming, Mama, Mama, see what I found. His mother said, what have you found, my son? He said, just come and see what I found. So the mother came running to see what. Then he pointed at the leaf and said, Adam's underwear. So a lot of people, the reason why something so simple and life-oriented has become complicated is because people are falling out of scriptures. What is it that makes you think 1,000, 2,000, 5,000 years ago, people were far more intelligent than you and me? Why is it so? Is it not such a retrograde step that you think people 1,000, 2,000, 5,000 years ago were much smarter than you and me? Is it so? Is it in line with the evolutionary process, I'm asking? No. But this is the thing we want to change. Today, with everything around us, we handle it scientifically using various technologies. It is equally important that you handle your inner nature scientifically, in a logically correct manner and with tools. Now your thing is, give me the tools. These are subjective in nature. If it was a screwdriver, I would have come with a bag full and given it to you. This is subjective. What is subjective means it is something within. Right now, everything of you is outward. That is, all your 5 senses are outward bound, isn't it? You cannot turn them inward. You can't roll your eyeballs inward and scan yourself. You can hear this, so much activity here, you cannot hear this. An ant crawls upon this hand, you can feel it. So much blood flowing, you cannot feel it. In the very nature of things, your sense organs are outward bound. If you want genuine tools of transformation, I would say, if you dedicate 28 to 30 hours of focused time, okay? 28 to 30 hours of focused time, we will give you tools to experience or touch a dimension which is inward. Inward is not of thought, inward is not contemplation. What you call as mind and body is very outward because body is something that you accumulated over a period of time from outside, isn't it? The soil that you walk upon is what is sitting here as the body. If you get it now from me, your life will transform. Otherwise, one day you will get it from the maggots. Yes What you call as my mind is also an accumulation of impressions that we have taken in. This is accumulation of food, this is accumulation of impressions. But between these two heaps of impressions and food, somewhere there is something else which makes all this happen. If that comes into your living experience, then you will not need any guidance from anybody. To get you there, I'm asking not 12 years of sadhana, I'm asking 30 hours of focused time. You must do that much to yourself. You deserve that.
Thank you.
We talked about death. Do you believe, I know you don't like the word…
I do… I will die.
that there is an afterlife?
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to ask me whether I will die or not. I will.
Not, God willing, for a long time.
See, the question is there a life after death? I think some things you know best only by experience. But we've already gone through this. It's very clear that we gathered this body. It's very clear we gathered these impressions of the mind. If we have to gather so much, there must be something more fundamental, whatever it is. Something must be more fundamental than physical body and the mental structure. So, essentially, the question that you're asking is not about what happens after death. The question that you're asking is, what is the nature of my existence? Is it not very important that you should know this here, now, when you're alive? So if I tell you, yes, there is life after death, if it is comfortable for you, you believe me, or you will disbelieve me. If you believe me, you will not get any closer to truth. If you disbelieve me, you will not get any closer to truth. All you will have is, you will have a fancy story to tell. Sometimes pleasant story if you believe, if you disbelieve, a nasty story about me. But nothing about your experience of life will change, isn't it? You can believe what I say, you can disbelieve what I say. So I will never put anybody into that obscenity that they have to believe me or disbelieve me. All I'm doing is, where your experience is, stretching it to the next level of experience. Once you taste the next level, I am 100% guaranteed you will want to taste the next and the next and the next. I know this thing about it. Today, millions of people are following without promise of something elsewhere, no promise of anything. All I'm saying is, see, generally you can gather people if you create an enemy. If I say all your troubles is because of these people, then I can gather all these people. But this entire thing is about, there is only one problem in your life, that's yourself. In spite of that, people have gathered. Hats off to the people, because that much sense has dawned on the planet.
And if you had that child before you and you could give them advice for life before they've been educated out of it, what would you tell them?
I think the best thing is, I tell you how I raised my own girl. So, when she started traveling with me when she was 3.5 months old, me and her, just two of us driving a car and traveling across the country with a little baby bundled up, and one hand on the thing and my right leg is always heavy. In India, we have no speed limits, we are a free nation. So, this freedom is extended, people drive on both sides of the street and whichever way, they're testing my mystical powers. Some of them are busy testing their horoscopes. You know, somebody has told them you live to be 80, the guy is testing it out today on the street, whether it works or not. All these things. So, I'm constantly in new homes and, you know, with various families, wherever I go, I'm crisscrossing India at that time, driving an average of 125 to 150,000 kilometers per year. This is the time I'm building Isha Foundation across the country. So, this girl grew up like this, largely in the car, in many homes. So then I saw adults were so interested in teaching her something. If they see the child, A, B, C, 1, 2, 3, Mary had a little lamb, they will start. I said, nobody will teach her anything. No ABC, no 1, 2, 3, no Mary had a little lamb. And they said, this girl won't even know how many fingers she has. I said, I don't care whether she knows how many fingers she has or not, as long as she knows how to use them. She thinks this is a million, what's my problem? She knows how to use them. And I don't care whether Mary had a lamb or not. So I made this rule, nobody teach her anything. So, this girl, see, this is the beautiful thing about children, when you don't teach them anything, they're just wanting to drink life. By the time she's 18 months old, she speaks 3 languages fluently, because nobody's teaching her anything, no ABC, no nothing. And by the time she's 4.5 years of age, I've actually checked this, she remembers over 800 names of people, adults, and she thinks they're all her friends. She just sits down and making phone calls after phone calls to all of them and having long conversations with them. Because she doesn't know that she's a child and they're adult, she thinks they're all her friends. So she grew up like this. I wouldn't have sent her to school, but my schedules went crazy. So I put her to a school where there's very little of schooling. So she's around 12, 13 years of age. Something happened in the school that was disturbing for her. She came home and she was a bit disturbed. She came up to me and said, you're teaching everybody so many things, you're not telling me anything. I said, well, I'm not known to do things unsolicited. Now that you've come, let us see, sit down here. Then I said, this is all, it's very simple. Don't look up to anybody. She looked at me like this, saying, what about you, kind of thing. I said, especially me. If you look up to me, you'll miss the whole point. All you will do is maybe make a photograph of me and nail me to the wall. You have to see me as I am. If you see me as I am, there is much for you. If you look up to me, you'll miss the whole point. And don't look down on anybody. Don't look up to anybody, don't look down on anybody, this is all. Then you will see life just the way it is. If you see life just the way it is, you will navigate your way absolutely effortlessly. At the age of 15, I took her out of school and she went into classical dance. Now she's a well-known dancer in India, very no education. That's a time when, all her friends in school, somebody is going to Harvard, somebody is going to Stanford, all this. She said, I want to do law in Harvard. I said, see, just don't go by this. I'll take you around a journey. So I traveled, I took her to Oxford, Cambridge, Harvard, MIT, West Virginia University, Stanford University. I said, see, this is what you got. Just spend time. And then I took her to this very traditional dance school. And the way the children were, she sat there and she wept. I said, what? She said, I'll join up here. I said, it's great because there the monthly fee was 162 rupees per month, which is $2 per month. I said, this is a great choice you made.
And you said you didn't learn anything.